This playthrough is rated T for teen.
You know, we've been in the Thorin and the Zentarum side for a bit, getting the Orb of Thunder, getting this Jade Octahedron. I wonder if they're going to do anything to us before we actually grab all of them. Nah, they won't do that. That's not how these video games villains work. Greetings and salutations, viewers. Vauldemare back here with another episode of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2. In the last episode, we journeyed to the Halls of Hama and finished up before. And now we're going to dig deep to see what the dwarves found at the bottom there. But before we finish it, because we're basically at the final floor, let's sell some stuff to our friend here. Clean ourselves up a bit, you know, get that gunk off of ourselves. I think I can sell most of this stuff. Yeah, I believe so, yeah. Now the thing is, with what's upcoming here, probably should have put a few more points of evasion. Or if you have the, no, let me sell those. If you have a piece of armor that has lightning resistance, this would be a good place to have it if you do. I don't think I have anything that actually makes lightning, and I do need to buy some potions. Unfortunately, I'm running. Just think, yeah, I'll buy a couple more because the damage that can occur during this fight is pretty heinous. Let me see. Do I have enough? Nah, I don't have enough to put any more points in evasion. Oh well. All right, well, let's go back and see if how we can handle this. This fight I wouldn't call as super tough, but it does have its own challenges, mainly because of what it's similar to, you know, the Lich in his own way, like mainly because of his magic and stuff like that. But what did the dwarves find down here? Well, they found an annoying sound in a boss fight against the Chimera. Let's fight him. This guy can be dangerous because of his one of his heads. That blue head right there, yeah, it shoots lightning out of it. So it can either, if it's flying in this form, it has two forms. It can either get down the ground or fly. If you if you run too far away while it's flying, it'll ball lightning you while you're far away. So ball lightning can take it. Yeah, see what he does there. And if you're close, even if you're not super close to the ball of lightning, the lightning will attract itself to you, and it'll do like a ton of damage. So you have to be careful. So that's why if you have the lightning ability or lightning resistant like armor, which you'd have to by this point, unless you get some like interesting randomization, you would probably have to make it yourself if you could. But yeah, try to stay on the. Yeah, try to stay on his other side so that lightning doesn't attack you. That's the only way I've noticed to not like get hit by it, is to try and be like away from his head, because it only does it if you're close enough to that head. Yeah, basically it just attacks and does lightning spells. Like, it's not like in some games where some heads will do a bunch of different damage or types or whatever. And unfortunately, blocking doesn't really do much for me, at least on magic. And unfortunately, that sound effect, that comes from the game. There's nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. Just that loud bleeping sound. It was in the original game, too. I don't know if they ever fixed it in later versions of Baldur's Gate. Maybe they did. He's getting a lot of good crits on me. Ow, stop it. And I can't be too far away, too, because I don't want to get hit by the ball of lightning. You know? That's why I bought a few potions, because I'm not sure how badly he'll crit me a few times. Okay, there we go. We've almost got him. You could try to hit him from far with the arrows, but you have to kind of do it when he falls to the ground, because if you do it while he's flying, he'll ball lightning you from that distance. But either way, we get the Jade Octahedron. You recovered the Jade Octahedron, 8-sided jade runestone from within. Chimera's bowels should be returned to Jarek at Baldur's Gate. Haha, take that, skunk. And you're dead, son. Anyway, let's grab the treasure. Wow, mimics! Yeah. One final trick. You jerk. Oh, wow, it almost destroyed me. Whew. Now I got a potion for that, at least. Yeah, amulet. Ah. I really wish you could just punch those things and do damage. It's kind of cheap that you have to open it to see. I mean, you know, if you play the game before, it's always going to be the same chest that does that. But I would like to think that you could just like do something to like Ooh, what's that? Mighty Staff of Cleave. How can you cleave with a staff? I don't know. Sometimes you get lucky and are able to somewhat open up the treasure chest and then get away, but it doesn't happen often. Yeah, vomit up that treasure, dude. But anyway, what you can do, and the game gives you the treasure to do it, is to recall back to Baldur's Gate. But the weird thing is they give you the thing to do that, but the thing is, if you do that, you miss out on an encounter if you don't walk back to Baldur's Gate the usual way, which is kind of weird. You would think they wouldn't give you a recall potion so you could actually encounter it, but I don't know, maybe it's one of those things like if you want to or not. So anyway, I'm going to make my way out of this place because we've already seen that, so I'll see you at the entrance just to show you what you can get if you walk out of this place instead of just recalling back to it. So I'll see you in a second. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that during that fight, the whole area around that area is open holes, so you could just drop to your death by accident. Not that happened to me, of course, but I'm just telling you. And I was thinking while I was running outside, like, why would they give you the recall potion when you have the encounter with the Zentarum? But the thing is, it's an encounter that happens after you do 2 of the jobs. So, and you can do the jobs in any order. So I was thinking, I was like, you know what? I bet if I'd done another place in a different order, it would happen the same way. So anyway, let's go back to Baldur's Gate. But, yeah, we have a Zentarum attack.
The Zentarum have had enough of your meddling, adventurer. Your head's coming back with me to Darkhold in a box.
Well, I'm already dark, but I'm going to go into your hold, so yeah, we're going to fight these guys. They're not really bosses, just humanoid characters that can be stunned. Yeah, that's a big flaw in your plan, guys, making them stunnable. Aha. They weirdly dress up like regular knights, sort of. They're like emo knights or something like that, so. Anyway, yeah, let's kill everyone, so from this ambush, get you some extra experience. So, you go the other way, go back to Baldur's Gate. But anyway, I forgot why they called it Baldur's Gate. I know it's some like term in the game, like or in the world of Forgotten Realms, but it's been forever since I studied the lore of it, so I don't remember. Ooh, we're getting some major frames per second slowdown. Boy, it's because of the water and ripple and stuff like that. Ooh, one of them has a fire burst or whatever. Not fire burst. It's a cleric spell where you basically have fire fall from the sky. And it just falls down. It's like that ice burst ability that Lich had. Same thing. Haha. You guys can't handle my awesomeness. My Kung Fu Fury. Didn't expect a high level drow to be here, did you? Yeah, so typical, like the villains try to stop you once, and then you basically get to go on with the rest of the story, and then they don't stop you again until like one of the bosses goes, all right, we need to take care of this lady, or dude, or whoever you're playing as in the game. Although a lot of times they'll just say they, because it's almost assumed story-wise that, well, all the characters are there, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, that guy in the middle of spellcaster blessed all the enemies. Basically means they raises their chance to hit and stuff like that. There we go. We took him out. Too bad the spell keeps going. In other versions of the system, depending on which one you play, killing the caster ends their spells. So, but in this case, nope. It goes on and on and on and on. Surprised you didn't see your comrades off in the distance getting murdered by me. Good for me, not for you, Twix. I think that's it. Yep. Okay, so they didn't drop anything. I thought they did in previous versions. Maybe I'm just misremembering, but it's experience either way. So, and obviously make sure not to drop anything here because this is a one-time place. So if you drop it, you'll never get it again. So after you go back to Baldur's Gate. So. Alright, now we need to go back to the warehouse and talk to Jarek again. Yeah, partly I'm noticing after Act 2 starts, he stops commenting about what you're doing in the game. Because before he'd say like, "Oh, I heard you're doing this," but then as soon as like Act 2 starts, he stops mentioning, you know, what you're doing. Or I heard from a little friend, you know, he's like, why'd you stop following us, man? Let's see, grand stuff. I don't really quite so much care for the rune or cleave ability. I could break that down for the sapphire. Maybe. Let's see. Oh, that's a. Oh, it's the same short bow. Yeah, I'll break it down. Oops, I meant to. Break. That's it.
Prices are always more than fair, friend.
All right.
What are you looking for?
I'll just sell that grand stuff. Alright, anything else? Nope. Okay. Yeah, a lot of characters kind of... It's almost like... Well, I heard this game took forever to make... Well, not forever. I mean, it took like more than a couple of years. Back in the day, that was a lot. But it took a while because of some like legal issues and stuff like that. So I wonder if they were even working on it at the same time. Because this game kind of suffers like from a lot of games do, where the end game kind of feels like... I wouldn't say it's super rushed, but it feels like some parts kind of got ignored after a bit. Like they worked really hard in the first act, and then shortly afterwards, you know, kind of like went a little downhill. But anyway, let's see what you have to say, Jack.
Few ever return from the depths of the halls of the Hammer, and with the jade octahedron besides. Well done. Here is your reward.
Anyway, for doing that, we get 3,000 gold and 4,000 experience. Well, we've returned from it, so where do we go to next? Well, you could choose, so let's just go down order. So the Brazier of Eternal Flame.
The Brazier of Eternal Flame is a wide bronze fire pot studded with sparkling jacinth. It was once in the treasury of Dragonspear Castle, but lies somewhere in the caverns beneath the place now, having been stolen by monsters.
Huh. Well, I guess we should steal it back from the monsters. I'm a monk, not a thief, but I can do it in my own way. I'll return to the Brazier of Eternal Flame. Farewell. Alright, now that's our next objective, so we get that unlocks and we can level up. Alright, what do we want to level up? Let's see. Got my fortitude, so I could... And my toughness is maxed out too. So, let me see. Yeah, I could start doing stunning sprint or the critical stuff. Yeah, I probably will max out critical. Yeah, critical or an evasion at this point. Just kind of looking at my... I don't want to spend too much because I do want to save... At a certain part in the game, I do want to save points so I can start buying into other things, but I'll go over that whenever it actually happens in the game. I don't really feel like I need to buy that, so... let's see. I'll do improved critical first, and then we'll buy some invasion if we got some extra, so... And yeah, 3, 9, 12... Yeah, 15% chance to crit. Nice. Yeah, let's put a evasion on that too. So, alright, let's get out of here. On to the next area. And I think the next area also has like troll-like creatures. So make sure you have a acid or fire weapon. But luckily, I can just keep using the one I've got. It's kind of weird how often, like as playing the monk character and on the hard mode, I very rarely have to change out my equipment. It seems to be work. I mean, I could probably switch out certain weapons and all that to change damage and all that, but it doesn't seem like it. But anyway, you wake in the middle of the night to find your camp overrun by monsters from the nearby troll claws. Defend yourself! By... well, I was going to stun him. Ow, 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 ow. Okay, okay, jeez, calm down. Whoa! I was gonna stun them, but yeah, they got a pretty good amount of crits on me. Yeesh. Too bad I don't have another ability of Viadra's, but you don't get that till like a certain point of the game. So, oh my god. Well, it's because they're all like ganging up on me at once. So I wonder if I can find a way to like, yeah, like pincer them in, or not pincer, but stick them all in. Yeah, there we go. But, yeah, now I can't. Now they all can't hit me at once. So. It's all about placement and teamwork, my friend, with myself. Yeah, I was running around trying to find a good spot to like block them in. I'm like, okay, where can I put them to where they're not all ganging up and attacking me one by one? Oops. Luckily, I still was able to grab my gold. Yeah, this map's weird. Oh, ooh, almost got myself stuck. The map area here is really weird because of the way it's done. Man, how many more of them are there? Jeez, I actually didn't realize there were that many just hiding in the around here. Either way, I do a ton of damage, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, fall down, brute. Are you the brute squad? I am the brute squad. I want to make sure I kill everyone before I leave, just because I give decent experience. So, oh, good one. Yeah, your 1 to heal doesn't help you when you're dead. Man, I'm doing crazy damage. So you're gonna have a really good. I have a decent chance to crit. So, I mean, I'm not designing this off the chance to crit. Just if I get it, hey, you know, good job for me. Hooray for me. Almost feels like they're popping up out of the woodwork or something like that, you know. I think we're good, actually. Hello, trolls. Nope. All right, let's get out of here. We killed them all. They're dead. D-E-D, dead. But anyway, let's go back to Dragonspear Castle. Dragonspear. Wait a minute. Actually, there was a Dragonspear. Well, I'm aware of Dragonspear Castle. However, there was for a game called Baldur's Gate 1. There was that game's been out forever, but like a while back, a company called Beamdog released like an enhanced version of it. Which the thing is, people had already enhanced the game without buying that disc, and you could actually buy the original game, download the mods that people had made to make the game more bearable, and they were actually better than what Beamdog made. The only thing Beamdog did was they added extra characters and content that weren't in the original game, and the sad thing about it is you can. Oh, by the way, that's Bugbear there and goblins here. Let's just finish them off as we always do. Whoops. Well, I mean, I want to save it. I just want to finish these guys off before I do that. I don't want to be in the middle of enemies while I save. But yeah, you could tell the difference between the writing between the original game with BioWare and the new one with Beamdog. Like, it is not on the same comparison. You can tell they have a modern way of thinking and talking, and it kind of almost takes you out of the moment a lot of times. At least that's how I felt, at least with the new characters. Luckily, they didn't change the dialogue of the original characters. All they did was they wrote in new dialogue with new characters. I mean, not all of it's bad. There are some characters that are written better than others. But you can tell the difference between the writing. It's like almost night and day, at least to me anyway. But anyway, they did after the game they did DLC for it, their unique DLC, which was supposed to connect Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. Because Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, you kind of just end up in a new location after some stuff occurs, and it kind of gets you on a new adventure, but you don't really know what happened in between the two games. And they tried to. I didn't need to know what happened in between. I just assumed some stuff happened and you end up there and that's it. And it wasn't. I don't need to have every single bit of information told to me. I can just assume in the world's lore that maybe, things happen in between episodes that aren't important enough for me to really recall or get worked up about. But anyway, they made a DLC called I think it's called Dragon Spear or Dragon Spire or something like that. And it's supposed to just tie in. It's their version of tying in Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. And it is not good. Or their original content is terrible. Almost no one who likes the original game liked the extra content for it. I almost thought about buying it until I read the reviews, and I was like, oh, ooh. And yeah, most people said their big complaint is the dialogue is terrible in it. And yeah, don't. Just goes to show, just because you're so many years ahead or past, like when a game released, just because you're newer or younger or whatever, doesn't mean you know better, and that's just my hot take on that. I think it's terrible. So if you ever play Baldur's Gate, which is a completely different game from this one, by the way, this is more hack and slash, while that game's more turn-based RPG, semi-strategy type of thing. And I understand that that's definitely not a game for most modern audiences. I can still play it because I kind of grew up on that stuff, but if a modern person didn't like it, I wouldn't mind. I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, you didn't grow up with these types of games, so that's just not your cup of tea. I think they call it. I think the technical term for it is CRPG or whatever. Not quite JRPG because that's it's called CRPG because it's called a classic RPG, at least from the Western style. Yeah, think like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, Neverwinter Nights, Icewind Dale. Actually, recently over the years, there've been some fan-made companies making like CRPGs similar to Baldur's Gate, like a group called Owlcat Games made a couple of games called in the Pathfinder TTRPG series, which is basically Pathfinder. It's just basically it's version 3.5 with a different coat of paint on it, and they made a couple of CRPGs. I played the first one, Kingmaker. It was okay. I didn't really care much for the story on it. Like, it wasn't terrible. It was just kind of like, eh. You basically play as a character who eventually controls a barony, so there's CCRPG stuff in it, but there's also a, like, sort of kingdom building mechanic in it. It's not really implemented very well, at least in my personal opinion. I guess I've heard in the sequel that they made, although it's a sequel and only in name, there isn't like a direct correlation from the previous game to that one. It's more just another game based in that world. I heard they kind of fixed the Kingdom Maker mechanic in that one, made it a little bit easier and polished up the game a little bit. I heard a lot of people do like it. They say the story is a lot better and the characters are written a lot better in that one too. Maybe I'll check it out one of these days. I'm trying to think of other CCRPGs that are out there right now. Oh yeah, there was a European company. I forgot their name off the top of my head. They made a game called Divinity, which I've heard is pretty decent. Kind of goes more in the... Well, I guess it can be turn-based. You can choose to either make it turn-based or more hack and slashy, depending on the system you use, or at least more loose turn-based, if that makes sense. Yeah, I've heard 1 and 2 aren't too bad. I've heard that same company is now working on Baldur's Gate 3, but the problem with that is that, from what I've seen of it, it's just Baldur's Gate in name only. It doesn't have any ties to the storyline of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, because that was kind of concluded in Baldur's Gate 2. Like, it was finished. Like, there was really not much else you could tie to it. And it seems like that's going to be the same case where it's just called Baldur's Gate 3. A lot of people like to call it Divinity 3 because the company that makes it made those, and it's in their same design. So people are like, well, that's basically the third version of that game. You could call it that instead. They just use the 5th edition rules. Unfortunately, that game's not out yet. It's been in like early beta stages forever. I know the idea is games take forever, but I think they should just wait to release the game. But I guess they wanted to get some extra cash flow by releasing early versions of it for people to play. Basically almost free beta testing when you think about it. That's how I see early access. I see it as basically free beta testing from people, because people pay the company to play the game, and then they get feedback from them for beta testing. Remember back in the day, you actually had to pay people to beta test? Huh. Game companies have figured out how to get around that now. You can just get hardcore fans who really want to play a game really, really badly and make them pay for it, a chance to beta test it. And people will do it too. I'll never get it, but whatever. Yeah, you can tell there's not much right now to this castle, because I'm talking about other things other than the game while I'm fighting it. I'm not really having too much of a challenge from it, so... But that's fine. Like I said, we had the previous area where we had to fight the constructs where I couldn't stun anything. So it's just a nice change of pace where we go back to where I can stun and attack things. And these are Gobble Knights. No one cares about Gobble Knights. No one's afraid of them. Yep. I was about to say, just I'm gonna grab the thing. I'm trying to think of any other CCRPGs. I know there are quite a few out there. I just have to remember them off the top of my head. I remember there being quite a few back in the day when Baldur's Gate came out. Like, a lot of people tried to kind of get on the success of that game, because it did really well, at least in those circles. Obviously, if you looked at sales numbers of copies sold, it would be nothing compared to like games of today. But for the time and how big the medium was and stuff like that it was impressive. Because, most people were into shooters and stuff like that. So. But I guess there was enough fans of, Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that people would buy that and check it out, And it's a good story too. I like it. And it goes into, like, the story eventually goes into the metaphysical and stuff like that, which I usually tend not to like, but for some reason in that series I was able to Well, it's not that I don't like it. It's hard for me to wrap my head around it. And not that I don't understand it. It's one of those things where certain, like certain concepts can never, it's hard for people to kind of recognize or just get to grips with what it is. So they never truly relate with it or can understand it despite knowing what that means. Was there a, oh, maybe it's the well or something like that around here. I thought you could open the well. Maybe I have to, oh, maybe it's when I escape or something like that. But anyway. Yeah, I'm trying to think whatever. I know there are more of them. I'm just really trying to recall them. I guess those are the ones I mentioned, the more well-known ones. I know there are more. It's just those don't get, because people either find them okay or don't promote them as often. You know, you don't recognize all the names. I'll have to look at my gaming library and see what I've got. I technically Disco Elysium is like that in a way because of the way the engine works and everything like that. That was a really interesting game. I'll need to finish that one of these days. It's one of those games that it's a really interesting concept behind it and the way it works. I did a first impressions video on it, which was technically a misnomer because I'd actually played the game before that, but I just wanted to have a video where I recorded me just talking about a game that I thought was interesting. I didn't get very far. I think I only got character creation or character customization, I guess is technically the word in that case, and a little bit of the story, but I didn't get very far to show it off. I wanted to record more of it, but I was like, I'll come back to it later. And I haven't gotten back to it later, unfortunately, and I do want to play it. But I like the music, the concept of it, and everything like that. The way you can, talk to your emotions. So there's a lot of metaphysicality in the game, to a humorous degree. Where are all these statues, anyways? Nice. Got a little bit different change of pace of music. Very nice. Like it. Any other monsters around here? A lot of dead people, though. A lot of dead people. Very creepy. Yeah, I'll have to, in between episodes, I'll have to look at my library and see what other games in this genre I can find. I know there's more. Oh yeah, Planescape. I almost forgot about Planescape. One of the most famous CCRPGs that deals with different dimensions and stuff like that. That was a really interesting story. It's one of the few RPGs you can go through without killing anyone or going into combat once. Which they actually made a spiritual sequel to that, Numenera, which that one's pretty interesting too. That's another one I need to finish. It's in the same vein as Planescape Torment. And I believe in that game you can also get through it without any combat or killing anyone if you want to. I like the fact that that is possible, because in most games like this, because they're based off the idea of action and killing, I'm not saying every game should do that. I just like the idea that there are some games out there that you could possibly beat it without doing that. Like I assume you have to build up your diplomacy skills. I was able to get pretty far without having to fight anything. It's kind of funny, the first time you don't fight anything in the game, some of the characters that join you to get you out of a certain situation, they're like, wait, what? They're surprised. They're like, you're not going to try to resist or anything? And I'm like, nope. And you lose them as characters. You can find them again later, but I don't know. I just thought that was funny. All right, let's go. Ooh, we got a quest giver. Let's save first before we talk to the quest giver. Trying to think of any other games now that I remembered Planescape Torment and that. Oh yeah, there was a weird horror game similar to this vein called Sanctarium or whatever it was. Anyway, let's talk to Tempest.
Greetings, traveler. I am Feleth, cleric of Tempest. Have you come here to enter the dungeons beneath Dragonspear Castle?
Alright, Feleth, you don't look like a Feleth, but I think I am, because I'm trying to get a treasure, and I'm killing things along the way. I did, if it's any concern of yours.
Very well. Mighty Tempest, place your blessings upon these brave warriors who would do battle with the foul denizens of Dragonspear Castle. May your victories be many, and your death swift. Tempest be with you.
Tempest is basically a war battle god in Forgotten Realms. Why are you here, Feleth?
There has been a shrine to Tempest on these ruins for many, many years now. The number of priests here has dwindled, though others should join me in time. but the church still maintains its vigil above the cursed halls of Dragonspear.
What can you tell me about Dragonspear Castle?
When the hero Darrow's Dragonspear passed on, his castle was abandoned and inhabited by a succession of fell beasts and monsters. In time, a fiendish gate to the very hells was opened in the castle's bowels. Armies purged the place, but priests of Tempest erected a shrine here. And so we remain, in a perpetual siege against the hordes of monsters that work their way into the castle dungeons from the Underdark below. It is for this reason that adventurers and their kind are always welcome here. We tend the wounds of any who aid us in our fight, and allow them to keep whatever treasure they find.
Ah, yeah, exactly. The question goes, treasure? I'm an adventurer. I smell treasure. Treasure's adventurer sense is tingling.
Yes, there is much wealth to be had below. However, there is one item I would ask you return, should you find it.
What is this item?
A holy symbol of Tempest. It was lost some months ago by a young cleric who entered and never returned. You would be rewarded.
Ah, you said my most favorite phrase, rewarded. Have you had any other adventurers come through here of late?
I believe so. Yes. As some days passed, a band of black-armored men entered the ruins. They have not yet returned. May Tempest be with you.
Yeah, the Zentarum have entered it, so they're trying to get the brazier, huh? But will they get the brazier in time? What about us? Can we get to it before they can? And what awaits us in Dragonspear Castle? Find out next time in the next episode of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.